Hey, welcome back. I'm Joe Springer for the Wall Street Exclusive, helping you make informed decisions so you can succeed in the market. Let's play Know Your Filings. All right, here are the 4 SEC filings that might be the most important ones to know. Know your SEC filings. The first one is the 10K report. The 10K is 6.2 miles. Ha ha ha. 10K is the annual report, perhaps the very most important form for you to check out. It's a detailed and comprehensive analysis of the company and its financial condition. It is different than the annual report to shareholders, which is what the company has to send out after its annual meeting each year. The 10K annual report, it contains audited financial statements that the CEO and CFO sign off on. So if it's in there, they can get prosecuted if they're lying. So very important stuff. Annual report's very important. You should always, of course, always review the annual report of any stock you buy. The only problem with the annual report is that it takes like 90 days sometimes to come up with it, and it's out of date. It only comes out once a year, and so the 10Qs come out once a quarter. And a 10Q is like an annual report, but it's a quarterly report. It contains a little bit less financial information, a little bit less information in general than the annual report, and also the financial statements are unaudited. Not usually a problem, but so what I would generally do if I'm looking at a company, the first thing I do is go look at the most recent 10Q. If I like it, go look at the most recent annual report. That's a good way to start out. Okay. Then there's the 8K. So 10K was annual report, 10Q was quarterly report, 8K is a current report. If a material change happens, a major development, and it happens now, instead of waiting 6 weeks for it to be in the 10K or 10Q, a company might file an 8K and say, hey, here's something that happened with our business. An 8K is really anything material, which is a subjective thing. What is material? So you can actually learn a bit about a company's management, about how often they file 8Ks. Every time they're doing a new presentation, if they're going to go to a conference and do a new presentation, even if there's no information in there, just to be safe, they might file an 8K and say, here's something new, here's something new. So some companies file them all the time, some companies file them very rarely. So it's sort of an interesting thing to see maybe how conservative a company is. If they file lots of 8Ks, maybe they're a conservative company, hey, maybe that's good. Then there's Form 4. Form 4 identifies changes in ownership of the company's officers and directors. This is what we talk about. Make sure the insiders are not selling. Make sure the insiders are buying. That's even better. And so what is that? How do you find that out? It's SEC Form 4. And so all these SEC forms, if you go to a company's website, if you go to Kraft or Coca-Cola's or Hormel's website, go to Investor Relations, they'll always they have to list the SEC forms there. If you watched yesterday, we said one of the reasons this is the golden age for individual investors is that there's the regulation fair disclosure. And so we said if the management tells one party anything, they have to make it public. And so one way to make it public is when they file their forms, whether it's an 8K, 10Q, or 10K with the SEC, now it's public for everybody to see. So those are always available to everybody. So if you go to the company's website, go to Investor Relations, go to the SEC forms, and then if you go to Edgar, Edgar manages the SEC filings officially. On their website, you can actually follow the RSS feed, and so you can get a little update every time the company files anything. And that's if you're maybe heavily invested in a company, that's what you want to do. And so if they say something bad, you can get out. If they say something good, maybe you can buy some more, something like that. Okay, but so those are the 4 most important SEC forms, perhaps. There's the 10K, the annual report, the 10Q, the quarterly report, the 8K, the current report, and SEC Form 4, the changes of ownership for directors and officers. All right, I hope you found that information helpful. I'm Joe Springer, helping you make informed decisions so you can succeed in the market.